Hello, and thank you for joining us for this segment of Daily Bible Bites at Mount Olive Multicultural Community Church. Today is March 8th, and we are in chapter 25 of the book of Genesis. Abraham deeded everything he owned to Isaac. However, he gave gifts to the sons of his concubines and sent them away from Isaac. Then Abraham died at the age of 175, and his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him where Sarah was buried. Here's a list of the descendants of Ishmael: Nebaioth, Kedar, Abdil, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, Kedema. These 12 sons of his became the founders of 12 tribes. Isaac pleaded with God to give Rebekah a child. At last, she became pregnant, and it seemed as though the children were fighting inside of her. So she asked the Lord about it, and he told her, "The sons in your womb shall become two rival nations, and the older shall be a servant of the younger." And she had twins. The first was covered with reddish hair, so they called him Esau. Then the other twin was born with his hand on Esau's heel, so they called him Jacob, meaning supplanter or grabber. Esau became a hunter, while Jacob liked to stay at home. Isaac's favorite was Esau because of the venison he brought home, and Rebekah's favorite was Jacob. One day, Jacob was cooking stew when Esau arrived. Esau: "Boy, am I starved. Give me a bite." Jacob: "All right, trade me your birthright for it." Esau: "When a man is dying of starvation, what good is his birthright?" Jacob: "Vow that it is mine." And Esau vowed, thereby selling all his eldest son's rights over a bowl of stew. His son's rights given away, his eldest son's rights given away over a bowl of stew. Now, this is a very easy moral to this story. The moral is never, ever, ever make a permanent or long-term decision based on a temporary need or feeling, or a temporary desire or feeling. I have a quick story. I have a great uncle who was the oldest of the family, my grandmother's brother, and there were two boys and all the rest were girls. And there were several of them. And so in Arkansas, where they're from, in Little Rock, Arkansas, we had land. Our family had land, and a good amount of land that my great-grandparents had purchased and maintained. And so that was obviously supposed to be something that was passed down through the generations, or at some point sold, or, whatever the case may be, so that we were able to profit from that. Well, my great uncle, again, the oldest, he was left in charge of it. And instead of either selling it or maintaining it, he wanted to leave the state. And so he just left it in the hands of someone else. And so, long story short, that family has profited off the land, because there's no way to go back after all of these decades and say, well, that land is ours and we've come to collect. After that, family has maintained it, and they did a lot to be able to cover up that the land did in fact belong to our family. But legally, it's still in the family name. I've checked the records in that, but morally and ethically, they've been taking care of it for a long, long time. And it just would not be right to go back and say, now this is ours, because it really isn't. They've owned it, so to speak, because they've maintained it and taken care of it. So again, a temporary feeling or a temporary emotion, a temporary desire. He wanted to leave right then. He wanted to leave right away. He didn't wait to get business affairs in order before he left and moved to California. And so in the meantime, our family has lost out. The same way Esau sold away his right, not thinking about his eldest son or his eldest son's family, or however he would have distributed that birthright to his own sons or his brother's sons, or, whatever he decided to do as the eldest. But Esau was hungry. So, that's worth it. Get rid of the birthright because I'm hungry right now. Don't make a permanent or even a long-term decision based on a temporary need. God will take care of whatever your needs are, short term, long term, or otherwise. Just trust in Him, and don't put all of your trust, your hope, and your faith in things that are temporary. Matthew says it in a really interesting way when he says not to worry about things that moths eat and rust doth corrupt. So this is the same kind of thing. Things that are temporary, material things are just temporary. They're going to pass away. Don't put all the stock into that and make a poor decision as a result of it. Thanks so much for joining us for Daily Bible Bites. Please join us on www.dltmoreministries.com, where we have our weekly Bible studies, weekly services, and weekly small groups. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.